welcome to another episode of the Fitness Hutch Mental Health Podcast, episode number
9.
9.
9.
9?
9.
Ja,
Ja.
das ist gut, ja?
Yes, it's
Du
good.
bist fantastisch.
Oh.
Oh, Tag.
Where is the Jugendherberge?
Where is the Jugendherberge?
Yeah.
Where is the youth hostel?
Yeah. Polizei.
Jugendherberge ist in meine große Arschloch.
You got a big arsehole, have you?
It's got a youth hostel in it.
That doesn't sound very good, does it? You've got a youth hostel in your arsehole. We'll have no youths in there, thank you.
We'll have no one in there. Youths or grown-ups or fucking animals.
Oh dear, you'd be alright if you was in prison, wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't. I don't want to be in prison.
Your dinner up there.
Oh, well, so thank you to all our new subscribers that we've got.
How many we got?
634.
Ooh.
Which means we're only 376 away from 1,000. 376 away from 1,000.
Ooh. Maybe you could edit that out a little bit, make it look quicker.
No, I don't need to. I don't need to edit shit out. We're late recording tonight as well.
Yeah, so let's not dilly-dally.
Why are we late recording?
Because we went to gymnastics.
Okay. But we've been to gymnastics other nights and recorded earlier than this.
We had tea.
Yep, we had tea other nights.
You had a bath.
I did have a bath. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You held us up because you had a bath.
And what did you do while I had a bath? Did you charge any of the microphones?
I didn't know it was required.
Did you just charge your phone?
No, I flattened it while I was at gymnastics.
Selling ducks.
Selling my ducks. Shh.
No, not selling them. That's not what I said.
I'm not selling any ducks.
No, giving your ducks away for people to pay the postage, which just happens to be the exact same amount as the duck would cost, plus £5. So, should we just talk about it quick?
What? The podcast?
You make ducks.
I make pretty ducks.
You do, with decoupage and bamboo ducks, and you made a duck that was of a certain brand. To hide their identity, we'll call them Favour and Fairfax, just so people don't guess which brand it is. And you ask them, out the kindness of your heart, without trying to break copyright laws, I've made these.
I didn't make these. I made this.
I made this. And the people on the Favour and Fairfax, I'll hide their identity. Enthusiasts would like to buy them. Would I be okay to sell them? And basically they said, no, don't use our logo. Fuck off. So you said, okay, then I won't sell them. I'll give them away. I'll just get the person to pay postage. The postage just happens to be the same price as the duck.
Well, it's a long way to the post office and petrol.
Yeah.
And
the
paper's expensive.
And that packaging that I've got, my packaging that I own, that belongs to me.
That I've got to buy off
that you've got to buy off me for £25 per duck you need to send.
Wow.
So that's postage and packaging. And the packaging includes all the paint on the ducks. Because the ducks are wrapped in the paint.
They are. And paper.
And paper, yeah. Decoupage. So we had 30 odd people in the podcast at the weekend.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad.
I enjoyed the podcast at the weekend.
I did. We're not doing one this weekend, though, are we?
No, because I'm out. You can do one there.
I'm going to be live. But I don't know, because I'm live Thursday as well.
Maybe invite somebody on,
Everyone I know has been on. Me, you.
Maybe some of our new subscribers might have a channel.
I did put a community post out.
What about Cookie?
She might come on. We'll see what I get back from the community post. I've got a few other options. because I did have someone potential lined up, but he doesn't want to. Well, his manager or production team don't want him to do a live, so.
Why, is he sweary?
No, I think they're probably worried what I might ask. So
they get to record it then?
That might have to be a pre-recorded one.
Do they get to record it?
Well, we haven't come to an arrangement yet.
Because you could pre-record it and still ask silly questions.
Yeah, but they'd want to see the edit first. If it's live, like, it can't be censored, can it? They say to someone, "Do you shave your ball bag?"
No, because it itches.
Did you just admit that you don't shave your ball bag?
I would imagine that would be the question that most people would give that had a ball bag.
But that would be a stupid question for me to ask, wouldn't it? Of all the people that I've interviewed, I've never asked anyone if they shave their ball bag.
No.
Because I don't want to know that. Maybe if our channel was the Hairy Person's Podcast.
The hairy health is hutch.
Yeah. Gonads are us or something. So, yeah, I haven't got anyone. And I haven't got my partner in crime for my podcast on Saturday night.
I'm out with friends.
I know. I'll do something. I think I might talk about the prison service. Because I had a catch up today with my good friend Dominic, who I was in the prison service with. He's now a police officer in Australia.
Dom.
And we reminisced a little bit and we told a few stories.
I bet that cheered you up.
It did actually, yeah, it really did. We was having a good giggle about the time. Oh no, hang on. No, I didn't. And we had a good giggle about the time that. Oh no, I can't say that one either. We had a really good laugh about when. Oh no, hang on, I can't tell that story either.
Are there any stories that you can tell? Because it'd be a very quiet podcast on Saturday if you can't tell any stories.
There is some stories I can tell. I think. Can talk about.
You can think about them.
Yeah. I can say these stories aren't real, so I'm going to tell them. These are a figment of my imagination. They are a woozy. They're a wazi.
Well.
They're a fugazi.
A memory is only...
Memory. Sorry.
A recollection of the last time you remembered it. It's not a memory of the true event. That's why memories can change.
And I've told these stories so many times, like, there probably wasn't 5 people beating shit out of a nonce. It was probably 2 people restraining someone who become truculent. See how things can change in your mind?
Yeah.
It's more likely to have been the first one.
Bit of embellishment.
I'm not sure. I prefer, like, smaller words.
Bit made up, duck.
Yeah, bit made up, duck. Bullshit. So who suggested the subject for tonight? Can you remember?
Let me find the podcast and see.
I know what the subject is.
I know what it is.
Subject is social anxiety.
Yeah, it's quite a small subject though, social anxiety.
Well, we haven't got loads of time.
So what do you think social anxiety is?
The anxiety of social situations. The way I see it, when we have kids that say that they've got social anxiety. In fact, I used to work with this kid who used to say can't go to college because I get too anxious when I'm in big groups. And then he went to the premiere of Captain America Civil War. It was like, what about his social anxiety? He was like, no, it's fine when I go to there.
That's not social anxiety though, that's anxiety.
That's being lazy. He didn't want to go to college, so he said he was anxious.
But that's anxiety. Social anxiety is different.
So explain social anxiety then.
So social anxiety is an overwhelming fear that you're being judged by other people. So avoiding social situations where you might have to talk, where you might have to eat. Some people really struggle to eat food in company of others because they're worried that people are watching them eat.
Yeah.
They might avoid going to meet people And I suppose there's a big difference between shyness and social anxiety, because some people are naturally a bit more shy than others. But yeah, not wanting to perform or do things in front of other people in fear of being judged.
Yeah, but then you could just say that's just anxiety, because you get anxious when you're going to go on stage and perform, but that's performing in front of other people. So is that social anxiety?
No, that's anxiety.
So what's the difference? You said perform in front of other people.
Well, yeah. So I don't know. Say you wanted to go on a rally car experience, but you might have
not want to do it in front of everyone else.
Yeah, in case they would laugh at you. Or I used to get social anxiety when I used to eat out. I used to worry that I couldn't like hold my knife and fork properly, or people would be thinking that I ate my food too quick, or random, innit?
Yeah, because I'm not an anxious person. I don't get nervous. Like if there's a job interview or something, I get nervous about shit like that. I'm not a nervous sort of person. I could stand up in a room with 100 people and talk quite confidently, but if I'm sat in a doctor's surgery in a waiting room, I'm worried that people are watching what I'm doing. Strange, isn't it?
Yeah, so it can get you in different situations. It's not always in all situations. People that suffer with anxiety tend to suffer with anxiety all of the time. It comes on in waves and flurries.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. So how do you deal with that?
Well, it's all around your self-esteem, isn't it, and your confidence.
Can it be worse? I'm assuming it's like some people can be depressed, but not really depressed, and some people can be really depressed. Can social anxiety be debilitating? Can it prevent you from going anywhere?
Yeah.
And can it form into things like agoraphobia?
Yeah, it can then develop into stuff like agoraphobia or claustrophobia.
Claustrophobia?
Sometimes people can't go outside because they feel claustrophobic, so it can feel like they're confined.
Well, even though they're outside?
Yeah.
How?
What do you mean, how?
Well, my idea of claustrophobia is you shut in a wardrobe and don't fucking like it. But if you're outside, you're not claustrophobic, you're in a big open space.
Yeah, but it feels like you're being trapped.
In what way, though?
Have you ever... So people that are on Navy boats, like submarines. Navy boats. People that are on submarines and they're underwater for 6 months at a time.
Yeah.
And they can only see like the wall in front of them. Like they have no sense of perspective because there is none.
Yeah.
And then they come up shore. They really struggle to readjust for a little while because they've got no sense of perspective and distance, that they find the world really overwhelming and find it really like it's closing in on them.
So claustrophobia doesn't have to be the fear of small spaces.
No.
It can feel like you're in a confined space.
Yeah. And the derealization. So the world doesn't always feel real. So if you've not been in it for a long time and then all of a sudden you're back out in the outside, it doesn't, like a bit like the Truman Show experience. So sort of they call it derealization. And then have you heard the phrase depersonalization?
Probably.
So that's to do with where you don't feel like you're part of the world. You feel like you're a little bit detached from it, like the world's happening around you.
I sometimes think to myself, what fucking planet am I living on now? Is that the same thing?
Well, no, I think that's more about living in Boston, isn't it? But yeah, so, and I guess if you're under pressure or you're under stress, then all of those problems become amplified. We all experience those things at some point.
Yeah, so social anxiety could just be like worrying when you're out eating that people think you're eating too loud, or
loud eaters though are
yeah.
There's a woman that I work with, and I don't work with her all the time, but she comes occasionally, and she sat in my office, and I'm typing away, I'm doing whatever I'm doing, and I heard her get a packet of crisps out of a bag. Yeah. And this packet of crisps must have been 6 foot deep, because she was arm deep in it. And then every rustle, I was like tensing up. And I could hear go, and then she got this wrap, and it got lettuce and nachos or whatever else in it. So she was going from crisp, flicking bits of paper, like the loudest paper shuffler I've ever met, to on this wrap thing, glugging a Coke, and then going, and then just.
Is this person going to watch this podcast?
I doubt it. But going from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and I was like, fucking hell, I'm in the percussion section of an orchestra. I had to go out in the end. I was like, gee, I've never known anyone eat so loudly.
I used to work with someone. I always say used to, or still, I don't want to identify them, but they would go out and buy like a cake or something. I go to a shop and buy a cake, and they'd come back, and they were the sort of person that wanted to tell you about everything. And sometimes, right, I'm just not interested in other people's shit. I don't care what you're having for lunch.
You don't always interested in my shit.
No, I'm not interested in all your shit. But I'm not interested in what somebody else is having for lunch. If someone's been to the shop and bought their lunch and they want to sit and eat it, that's up to them. I don't give a shit what it is. I will go, oh, what you got for your lunch? Oh, I'm not into all that. And they'd sit there and go, they'd open whatever it was, cake or whatever. I wouldn't rise to it. And then like the fourth or fifth time, they go, it's nice this. They do that 3 or 4 times, still wouldn't rise to it. And they go, do you like blueberries?
No.
No, not really. This got blueberries in it.
I wouldn't like it.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't like. It's a blueberry muffin. I don't give a shit what it is. I got it from the bakery. You know the bakery, Dan? I feel like it's like I don't give a shit. I really don't.
Don't care about your divvy muffin.
No, I don't care about your muffin. I don't care how good it tastes. I'm currently not eating sugar. I don't care about your muffin.
So lots of people struggled with social anxiety after COVID when we were either in lockdown.
Not you can't say the word. Can we abbreviate it to something? The bullshit flu. Let's call it the bullshit flu.
C119.
Yeah, the bullshit flu. So after the bullshit flu.
So we were all social distance, weren't we? We were all queuing up, and people were like, "Not too close, get back." And people were scared, weren't they? They've got too close, or breaking a rule, and like people were judging everybody. And
looking back now, it was ridiculous, wasn't it? It was ridiculous.
But yeah, 3 years ago now, isn't it, since it all started?
And the infection rates are still the same as they were.
People aren't dying as much now, are they? I suppose.
Within 28 days of a positive test, because we're not testing anymore.
True. Anyway, let's not get into the COVID debate. So yeah, people really suffered with it, didn't they? Like, and I remember getting COVID back in 2021, was it? First time we had it? We went a long time, didn't we? We went a full year without getting it. And I remember getting COVID, and we weren't socialising, we weren't going far, even though we were quite judged by a lot of people. We weren't breaking any of the rules. We were going to work. I'm still wearing a mask at work now. Social distancing, maximum room occupancy, PPE, lateral flow in twice a week, lateral flow in patients twice a week, daily temperature checks, all the sort of, and I was like, I've got COVID. And I remember having to tell my boss that I got COVID, and I thought, she could be really angry with me because she's going to think like I've done something I shouldn't have done, like I've been somewhere I shouldn't have been, like how have I got? And it was like, it's the kids' fault. They're at school, they brought it home, but we don't know where it came from. But yeah, that's kind of a form of social anxiety, isn't it? Fearing that other people are gonna judge you in some way for something.
I've got real problems with that. That comes down. We've spoke about this on an early podcast. Like the fear of letting people down. That's the same sort of thing, isn't it? Like not wanting to. Like when I was doing jiu-jitsu and I'd done it quite a bit, then not being able to go, the fear of just saying to them, "Oh, I'm not coming tonight, mate, because I'm doing this." Is that a similar sort of thing?
No, that's just anxiety.
But how's that any different to fearing to tell your boss that you've got COVID? How is that a different situation?
Because I suppose it was fearing of being judged that you'd done something wrong, that you'd broken a rule.
But is that not just anxiety?
No, it's social anxiety.
Why? How is it
And there's a
different?
difference between social anxiety, social phobia. So what you were describing before about avoiding social situations and being fearful of.
Let's say, for instance, now if I had to tell Stu that I wasn't going to the Comic Con with him, which I'm not, Stu, I'm not going to cancel. But if I did, I would be really nervous and really worried about that. Like, does he think that I'm blagging it? Does he think that I'm not really ill? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, am I making it up? What's that? Is that social phobia? Is that social anxiety?
It's anxiety.
Just normal anxiety.
So social anxiety is more about a fear of humiliating yourself.
All them things are so.
But there's crossovers,
close.
Isn't there?
Yeah.
There are crossovers. So lots of people can, I suppose, not necessarily being afraid of being out and about, but fearing meeting new people. You see people get really tongue-tied and not sort of be able to kind of form sentences, or they say something stupid out of context to what's happening because their brain's not quite wired up right, and then they cherry up, don't they? Go completely red from their toes to their forehead. That's quite debilitating anxiety, isn't it? Where you can't find your words, and you can't catch your breath, and then
that's awful. I've had that. I've had that where I struggle to get my breath when I'm talking.
So yeah, that's social anxiety.
I remember having a panic attack. I think I've had 2 panic attacks in my life. I remember having a panic attack once at home, and you got me a bag to breathe into. But I remember having a panic attack on the way to the prison service one morning. I can't remember whether I rang you and told you about it at the time, but I just suddenly got this overwhelming, sinking feeling in my stomach, and I was struggling to breathe. And I was on the A1 at the time.
It's like a fear that you're going to die.
And it was just this. There was no reason for it. It wasn't like I was never scared when I was in the prison service. It's weird because I was never scared going in. Even the first day, there was never a fear. But just for some reason, on this one morning, I had a panic attack and I pulled over onto the hard shoulder of the A1 and I had to sit and try and get my breath because I was struggling to breathe. And there was no, it came and it went, and I got back in my car and went to work, and that was it. It was so random.
But there's so many anxiety disorders, loads of them. Panic disorder, phobia, generalised anxiety. Lots of people with depression often suffer with generalised anxiety. They often come hand in hand, and you can't treat one without the other.
It's all pretty debilitating, isn't it? Especially I suppose there's that fine line between what is social anxiety and agoraphobia. And some of it's just, I think some of it's just an easy excuse for people not to do certain things.
And any phobia is normally based, some of it's irrational and based on nothing, but sometimes it's based on a real fear. I'm not claustrophobic. Well, I wouldn't describe myself as a claustrophobic because I could sit in quite a small space and be fine. But if I knew I couldn't get out when I wanted to, that freaks me out. And that comes from being a kid and hiding in a cupboard and the door handle falling off and being stuck in there for hours. And I've been known to have got stuck in a public loo, you know, where the lock jams and you can't quite wiggle it free because it's a bit tight. And it absolutely, like, so irrational, wanting to get out. I've been stuck in a lift with an old person in a nursing home I worked in. I used to use that lift all the time, but the minute I couldn't get out when I wanted to get out, it really played havoc.
I have a weird fear, and it's not so much claustrophobia, but it kind of is. I got stuck in a duvet cover once when I was a kid. I was only probably pre-teen, and I was trying to put my duvet cover on. I was only little, so I could literally get in it, get the corners to the bottom, and I somehow managed to get myself stuck in it. And I panicked because I couldn't get out of it. Didn't know how to get out. And now I have this fear. You know, like if you put a jumper on, you get a bit tangled. Get the wrong way around, and then you try and turn it around. You think, actually, I don't know how to get out of that. I can't. I'm stuck. But to the point of, I remember once trying to take a necklace. So like this necklace here that I've got on, right? If I try to take this over my head now, I don't think it'll go. But if I take it to like here, and then I start thinking, I'm already now starting to panic, thinking, can I get it all the way up or can I get it all the way down? I'm like, is it stuck? In fact, I'm going to take it back down. But I get this feeling that it's going to be stuck. It's not claustrophobia, is it? Because I'm not stuck in anywhere, but it's just that feeling of something being...
Just brings something back, doesn't it?
Yeah,
just trigger.
It's really strange.
I remember jumping in the deep end at the swimming pool as a kid and going right to the bottom because but not being able to get up very quick.
Yeah.
And it taking longer to get to the top than what I thought it was going to be. And I think if I watch anything on the telly, like divers where they're looking up at the bottom of a boat, makes me feel a bit funny.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, and looking up at really tall buildings and think, oh God, I could fall off there.
That's vertigo, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looking up at a building's vertigo. Being afraid when you're up high is the fear of heights, which is a different fear.
Yeah.
But I can't think what it is.
Fear of falling.
Yeah, but it's not called vertigo, the fear of falling. It's got a special name, but I can't remember.
But yeah, I think being underwater, or I would hate to go like snorkeling or anything like that, or diving and not be able to.
I can't, because I can't hold my breath.
Well, you get a thing, don't you, that covers your mouth and your nose.
I have to hold my nose.
No, they put a full thing on you.
I can't hold my breath underwater without holding my nose. I don't know why.
But yeah, we've all got fears.
I've got some really irrational fears though. I get scared of going in new buildings. I don't know what's going to be in there.
That comes from your army days though, when you used to do your searching and stuff and not knowing what was behind the doors, I think.
Yeah, just weird.
I don't like spiders.
I don't like lofts.
No, you don't like lofts.
Once I'm up there, I'm alright, but...
It's just putting your head through the eye, isn't it?
Fucking creepy ass fucking places they are.
I don't like cellars.
I see, that wouldn't bother me unless I thought there was machinery down there. If it was a cellar that had got a pump rooms, and I used to service freaking pump rooms, that was my job when I was civil engineering. And sometimes I was so scared of these pump rooms that I would have to unlock the door, close my eyes, open the door and run away. Throw the door open and run away and stand at a distance. And then I could just peek at it around the corner of the van until I'd seen it. And once I'd seen inside it, that's fine. I could then go in and service it. People just thought it was mental.
Bet it comes from your Bosnia days when you're doing the searching.
Do you think?
The searching stuff, yeah. And not knowing what was going to be behind closed doors. And what you're going to be facing.
Some weird shit. Found a tank in someone's garden once. Where you go under that tarpaulin? There's a tank. We went, took it back. Tank. I've got a picture.
Did they have the keys?
No. You don't have keys for a tank.
Ah.
It's not like you just hang them up on your key thing.
Do you not?
No. Vauxhall Viva, Ford Cortina.
Challenger 2.
Challenger 2. It wasn't a Challenger 2. It was some fucking German tank. I can't remember what it was now. But I got a photo of me somewhere stood next to a mortar, and it was a 6 foot tall mortar pipe. That was a pretty cool find. But other than that, I remember finding this, all the weapons underneath this woman's bed. And I can still remember the house that we went in. It didn't have any doors or windows. It was just like a shell, because some of these places were pretty rough. And it was weapon searches, pretty much just weapon searches. And there was certain contraband they weren't supposed to have. And one of the things they weren't supposed to have was unauthorized alcohol, so they weren't allowed to make their own Slipovich. But if they had a little bit for themselves, that was fine. And everywhere had it, everyone. And we went in, said, anything in here? And she told the interpreter, yeah, I've got my own stash of Slipovich. Okay, where's that? It's in the futon thing at the end of the bed. Opened it up, and she fucking... How many bottles are in there? I can't remember. There's just loads of them. Are these all for you? Yeah. Okay then. Lifted the valance bit up on the bed. You could see on the floor that there was an area cut out. Can we move the bed, please? Yeah, we moved the bed. Lifted it up. Fucking 50 AK-47 in a trapdoor under her bed. Oh man. She was just like that. Oh, well, we'll just seize these then. Okay, off you go. Just loaded AK-47s in. Mental.
So it's just having a look on the NHS website, because obviously I am a mental health nurse, but I'm not a specialist in every disorder and every... I know a lot about anxiety and sort of general phobias and stuff, but social anxiety, for it to be classified as a social anxiety, it has to be long term and completely overwhelming. So it can't... So, you're saying, what's the difference between social anxiety and feeling anxious? If you were like that in every social situation, all of your life, all of the time, where it debilitated and you were unable to function and do the things that you wanted to do, that would be social anxiety stroke phobia. Whereas anxiety kind of rears its ugly head every now and then, doesn't it?
So there's probably a lot of misconceptions around it where people say, oh, I don't like going to the cinema because there's too many people there. That's not social anxiety.
That's anxiety.
Yeah.
But
anxiety in social situations is different to social anxiety.
Yeah, and you get people get health anxiety. So often, if people are sometimes if they're not doing so well with their mental health, might have a fear that something's wrong with them. They've got cancer, or they're going to have a heart attack, or...
So what can these people do?
Well, typical stuff around sort of understanding your own anxiety and understanding when it occurs. So I guess you can avoid certain things if you want to, but if you don't want to avoid them, then you can work towards reducing the anxiety around that stuff. Things like relaxation, things like mindfulness, yoga, all that stuff's really helpful at grounding yourself. So I can't remember who it was that spoke about it, but if you're feeling quite overwhelmed, think of 3 things, like see 3 things, touch 3 things, hear 3 things, because it's like a grounding technique. It brings you back to yourself rather than your brain kind of...
Does that really work?
Yeah.
Touch 3 things, think 3 things. Think of a smell or pick a smell up.
Yeah, it just brings you back to the moment. It focuses your thinking. Because when you're anxious, your mind's racing, isn't it? It's all over and it's catastrophizing. It's snowball thinking. You heard snowball thinking before?
Yeah.
So mountains
it grows.
Yeah, mountains out of molehills.
It's 20 past fucking 10.
So yeah, chill your beans.
Basically, you just need to chill the fuck out.
Chill the fuck out.
No, I think that this whole mindfulness, and I think this is something that I really want to start looking into a little bit more for the fitness side of things, is more meditation and yoga. Fitness is good. Like I can teach that. I know loads about that. But I think, especially after doing the seated stuff, I think I'm going to look at a qualification in yoga, because I think that'd be quite good.
So often people with social anxiety will have other mental health issues, like I said, like depression, general anxiety disorder, panic disorder. But yeah, feeling sick, sweating, palpitations, sort of real physical. The blushing, the not being able to get your words out, and then that just amplifies it, doesn't it? It makes you feel worse. But yeah, it is more about feeling judged, feeling that people are going to laugh at you, feeling that you're going to be humiliated, feeling that you're not good enough, or I suppose a bit like imposter syndrome, but all of the time.
All the time, yeah. Gosh, so it's awful, isn't it?
Yeah. CBT, I know a lot of people, it's kind of split thinking really around CBT. Some people find it really useful, some people don't find it useful at all.
Just explain what CBT is for the subscribers that are watching.
So CBT is it's a type of psychological intervention therapy, cognitive behavioural therapy. So when we talk about CBT, we think a thought will elicit an action, and then an action will elicit a thought. So it kind of goes round. So if you're feeling anxious, you'll think anxious thoughts, which will then make you behave in a certain way, which will then make you feel anxious, and just goes round and round.
Cycle. So
it changes the way you think, so then you act differently, so then you change the way you think, and it.
Oh, it's quite interesting.
So that's CBT, and then you've got DBT, which is dialectical behavioural therapy, and that's about being in the moment. So that's about acknowledging that you're having a shitty time, but you can get through that by doing something else. So it can be a little bit fluffy. So it can be things like getting a really sour, sugary sweet and eating that and thinking about, if you're like having a bit of a panic attack or you're really overwhelmed, thinking about the texture, thinking about the taste, thinking about your feet on the floor, thinking about the space that you're in, and you're still within that moment, you're still feeling crappy, nothing's going to take that away, but actually
distract you a little bit, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, that's in its very bare basic bones. Some people
You're pretty
blow
clever,
feathers.
aren't you? You know some cool shit.
Some people blow bubbles.
Like that?
Yeah. Blow feathers. But like even things like lots of my patients they like doing things like diamond art and stuff. Really enjoy it because it's quite easy, because it's laid out for you. You don't have to be creative to do it. You get quite a nice product at the end of it because you got a picture that you can put on the wall or whatever. They're fairly inexpensive. You can go to like the Works or whatever, pick one up for a couple of quid, can't you, off Amazon? And they take a long time, take a lot of concentration. And I've got some ladies and chaps that are really quite disordered and will spend hours and hours and hours at creating these diamond pictures, and feel quite accomplished after it.
It's quite good, isn't it?
Because it's a form of mindfulness.
Yeah. It keeps you grounded, I suppose.
You're still within that moment of those thoughts and those feelings, but it just focuses your thinking onto something.
So I think that was something that Michael Jackson used to use to prepare himself for big concerts, because obviously he struggled with a lot of stuff. He used to blow bubbles. No, but I that whole thing with it's not just art therapy, is it? It's not just diamond art therapy. It's the whole thing of the different therapies, different things we used to get. I mean, we used to have kids in resi homes who were 16 years old and would have them using colouring books.
Yeah, absolutely. You get adult colouring books now, don't you? Colouring books. There's a lot of art therapists about that'll get people doing art and then interpret their art as to how they're feeling. I mean, that's really quite advanced. There's drama therapists.
And I suppose it's a really tedious link, but that does almost link in to meaningful activity, doesn't it? Because you're doing meaningful activity.
It's meaningful to you, isn't it?
Because
it doesn't have to be meaningful to somebody else. I think that's the thing about meaningful and purposeful activity. What is your purpose? What is your meaning for that day? And it might be to pay your bills or do your shopping or clean a room or whatever, but it could be some self-love, some self-care.
We've often talked about meaningful activity, though, haven't we? Within mental health, and it seems like that does, like, because these therapies and this grounding and it all ties into actually doing something that's worth doing, doesn't it?
And to give you a sense of purpose and a sense of meaning.
Yeah.
We're on this spinning rock for a really short period of time, and one thing that every human being has an innate need for is to have a meaning in life. And if you haven't got a meaning and a purpose, then that's often when people can become quite desperate and quite depressed and poorly, because we all need a purpose. We all need a reason to be alive.
Yeah, we do.
And to feel fulfilled. And different people have different levels of fulfillment.
You're my reason.
You're my reason.
Cool.
So yeah, blow your bubbles. Buy your colouring books. But for some people that's shit, isn't it? For some people they'll be like, colouring books. Yeah. I've got one bloke, he goes to the gym 3 times a day.
Yeah.
3 times a day, that's his meaningful activity. He gets a lift there, he goes to the gym for an hour, he runs back. He comes back, he has his lunch or whatever he's doing on the ward, and he goes back later. We give him a lift, goes to the gym, does an hour, comes back. Does that 3 times a day, every day, 7 days a week. Oh. He's a unit. I hope he don't kick off.
I hope he doesn't go into crisis.
Yeah, he's a unit.
So there's all sorts, isn't there? Like, some people play the piano.
Some people play snooker or pool. There's lots of snooker halls. Some people like to go bowling.
Listening to music.
Old people, not all old people, but like, I suppose traditionally it's more of an older person's sport, like town green bowls. A chance to socialise and to meet people and to be part of something. Like we spoke before about connection.
Exercise, music, and just driving. If I'm really wound up about something, I could put some music on and go for a drive, and it'd calm me down.
If I'm really wound up, it sounds really, it's really a bit not good. But I like to get the upper hand over somebody. I like to feel like I've not like today with that company. I was having a bit of a shit morning this morning, and I wasn't looking forward to going to work today particularly, but I went and I didn't go in a very good mood. And
you fucking mardy when you left there this morning.
And it lingers, doesn't it? It does linger sometimes, and you can't always snap yourself out of it. And then someone turned up at 10, and I thought, and that lifted me a little bit, because I thought, oh, I'm not on my own now. I've got some help. I've got some support. I'm not, when you feel a little bit overwhelmed. And so she turned up, and that was good. And then that allowed me to then breathe a bit, because there wasn't so much pressure. And then that's when I checked my Facebook, and I was like, oh. So then I got a little bit keyboard warrior-ish, and then I was like, oh, fuck you. Got the upper hand on you.
And now I feel better.
And I come out, I was quite buzzing tonight when you come home, wasn't I? I was like, this happened and that happened.
Yeah, you was, yeah.
And there was things today that didn't go to plan, that I didn't like. My parcel wasn't delivered, and that's annoyed me, because that's quite an important parcel, and I took time out today to be here for it, and now I'm going to have to take time tomorrow for it.
There's always going to be something though, isn't there?
Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, if that had happened this afternoon, and my day had continued how it had done, I probably would still be in a bit of a vile mood tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a little bit one-man upmanship on the man.
On the man, you beat them. Well, you didn't, because they're still not letting you use.
No, they're still not letting me use their design that they made.
Which I'm a little bit torn with this, because I want to side with you. It's my wife.
No, they're right.
But I kind of get they've put a lot of effort into their brand and their marketing. And
no, they're right. But if you're going to charge 300 quid for an handbag, expect someone to rip off your logo.
Yeah. Is that your words of wisdom today? If you're gonna charge £300 for a handbag, expect someone to rip off your logo. All right, Confucius.
But they said
Aristotle over there.
Said their logo cannot be published online, which is not true.
No.
Because loads of people publish their logo online.
Yeah, on their shoes and stuff.
Yeah, and on birthday cakes and birthday cards and things that they've made, but they're worried that someone's going to make not even a substantial amount of money, but That's greed, that is. That's corporate greed, isn't it?
Yeah.
They
don't mind people selling birthday cakes and stuff. Making little cards. Oh, let them make their little cards. When they saw something that they thought that they knew was good, knew was going to make good money.
And could be replicable more than one.
Yeah,
because most people only want one birthday cake, don't they? Or one birthday card, or one card. But if you've got an idea where you can replicate that 50, 100 times, they would probably want to do that.
Yeah. But they won't because it's not within their brand. Not within their thing.
Well, they do Christmas baubles. And key rings occasionally.
Just about you'll go in their store and they'll have them ducks.
I'll be livid. But I can't be livid because it's their duck.
It says.
I just make a better one.
Right then, let's wrap it up because it's late.
Flies everywhere. They keep biting me. There's a mozzie down there, look.
Your Desiree's not down there.
Ah!
So, thank you to everyone that's watched. Thank you to all our subscribers this week.
Our
subscribers.
Oh, I know, I like it.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't charge anything.
634. I've just checked. We're at 634. I would really like to get to 650 before the end of this week.
Oh, I just pulled my shoulder. Fixed yours.
Fixed mine. So I'd like to get to 650 before the end of this week. So if you're watching this, you haven't yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching this and you're already subscribed and you haven't put the notification bell on,
just give it a little thumbs up. Let us know you've watched it.
Put the notification bell on so you know when we've dropped a video. You know when we're going live.
Does it go ding?
No, it gives you a notification like on your iPad. So people know when we're live and it'll say we are live. And if you're a subscriber who's got a friend that could benefit, ring your friend and say, these fitness hutch people, man, get amongst it. Get on YouTube, drop them a subscription because if they can get to 650, that would be awesome.
They'll send you a worry worm.
Yeah. And look forward to seeing you all. You won't in the live this week.
No, because I might go live from bingo.
That'd be cool.
I don't know how to go live on YouTube.
You have to have your own account and do some videos.
I've got my own account.
I know, but you don't upload any videos and you've got no subscribers.
I've got 2.
Who are you 2? You
and Isaac.
Well, at least we'd see you go live. But I could post your live on the community page. And then everyone, all my subscribers, all our subscribers would see it. Maybe you should see if people subscribe to you. Make some videos. You really need a wee, don't you?
No.
So, how are we going to end it?
By achieving your goals.
That's wrong. You get it wrong every time. We're not a rock show. Yeah, dude. Hit the like. Drop us a comment. Achieve your goals.
Achieve goals.